it's Amanda with a few picks for Arab American Heritage Month. My first pick for fiction, Flying Over Water by Shannon Hitchcock, follows 12-year-old Noura and her family while they flee Syria and have been granted asylum in the United States. Yet with pressure of the president's recent Muslim ban, this transition has been anything but easy, especially with Noura's fear of water. My second pick, written by Bassem, Youssef, The Magical Reality of Nadia, is a humorous and heartfelt novel about a girl who immigrated to the United States from Egypt when she was 6 years old. Nadia stays true to her Egyptian heritage by carrying a hippo amulet, which begins to glow and gives her courage throughout the story. My third pick, Birdie's Bargain by Katherine Paterson, is a tale for when our faith has shaken. Although her dad has been on tour to Iraq twice, Birdie is certain that this time he won't return. After moving to a new school and in with her grandma, Birdie begins to wonder if her prayers will actually be answered. My picks for nonfiction include Young Palestinians Speak, Living Under Occupation by Anthony Robinson, which provides an overview of the history of Israel and Palestine and lends a voice to the second generation of children affected by the conflict. Told through interviews with Palestinian children, this book is a must-read for understanding the day-to-day experiences of living under occupation. My second pick, Everything Comes Next, Collected and New Poems by Palestinian American and Poet Laureate Naomi Shihab Nye, is a collection of more than 40 years of work into a single volume. This celebrated book of poetry is full of everything from stanzas to free verse stories, which spark conversations about war, truth, and humanity, which will make you laugh, cry, think, and wonder. My third and final pick for nonfiction, from a celebrated documentary artist, George Butler, Drawn Across Borders, True Stories of Human Migration, outlines an intimate record of why people leave the places they call home. Creating pen and ink and watercolor portraits amid war zones, refugee camps, and more, Butler shares the stories of adults and children with sensitivity and eloquence, which highlights our shared humanity. I think you'll really enjoy these picks, and I hope to see you at the library.
Hi, I'm Miss Heather from the Fox River Valley Public Library District. April is Arab American Heritage Month, so I have some book suggestions for younger readers. The first one is called Building Zaha, the story of architect Zaha Hadid by Victoria Tentler-Krylov. Zaha Hadid was born in Baghdad, Iraq, in a time when the country was doing very well, and its leaders wanted to update the capital by having modern buildings built by great architects from around the world. Also, her father prioritized visiting notable buildings and museums on family trips, and these experiences led to her love of buildings. Her parents supported her desire to become an architect, even though it was a male-dominated field, and her bold, abstract style won awards as well as criticism. But she ended up becoming the first female, first Iraqi, first Muslim, and youngest person to win the Pritzker Prize, which is architecture's highest award, and a notable architect of the late 20th, early 21st century. So she's a very interesting person, and this book does a great job of telling you about her and her work. The next book I have to tell you about is nonfiction, although it is not a biography. It's called Solar Story: How One Community Lives Alongside the World's Biggest Solar Plant by Allan Drummond. And this tells the story of the Noor Power Plant, the world's biggest concentrated solar power plant in Morocco. It's the size of 3,500 soccer fields. And this book tells the story of its construction and the plans for it from the point of view of a girl living in the area who's, before the power plant was built, her family keeps some sheep, They're cooking outside. Her school doesn't have the internet, and she's wondering, how is this going to change her life? And the book discusses what sustainability means and how solar power is changing the world. The next two books I have to tell you about are fiction. The first one is called Halal Hot Dogs by Susanna Aziz, illustrated by Parwinder Singh. And this story, it's a funny story inspired by the author's son. Their family is Palestinian American, and they are Muslim. And after Friday prayers, they like to go take turns with having a different person in the family pick out what they're going to have for dinner that night. It's kind of a fun family tradition. And her son's favorite thing to get is halal hot dogs. So this story tells about the difficulties he has in getting a hold of some halal hot dogs for that week's Friday night dinner. It's a cute story. And then the last book I have to tell you about is called 10 Ways to Hear Snow by Kathy Camper, illustrated by Kennard Pack. And I know we're not really interested in talking about snow anymore after this winter, but this is a really cool story. It talks about snow, obviously, and all the different ways that it sounds, whether you're throwing snowballs or crunching it under your boots or just listening to the quiet after a big snowfall. But it's also about a girl who is helping out her grandmother make the favorite family meal. The story is based on the author's experiences as a Lebanese American, and it has some Arabic words included in the text. So I hope you find something good to read this April for Arab American Heritage Month.